September 22nd, 2020, in Laredo, Texas, began as an ordinary night, but ended in a shocking tragedy. At 3:27 a.m., Joel P., a 45-year-old surgical assistant, made a frantic call to 911. His wife, Maria Munoz, wasn't breathing, and his voice trembled as he explained that his CPR efforts had failed to revive her. When paramedics arrived at the spacious suburban home, they were met by Joel, still dressed in surgical scrubs despite the early hour. He hurriedly led them to the upstairs bedroom, where Maria, just 31 years old, lay lifeless on the floor. Paramedics worked desperately to resuscitate her, but it was too late. Maria was pronounced dead on the scene. Joel immediately offered an explanation. Maria, he claimed, had been struggling with anxiety and depression and might have overdosed on her medication. He even suggested that she might have taken her own life in a moment of despair. But from the very beginning, nothing about Joel's story made sense. The inconsistencies, coupled with his behavior, raised questions that would lead investigators to uncover a sinister plot involving betrayal, manipulation, and cold-blooded murder. Maria's story began far from the tragedy that claimed her life. Born on August 18, 1989, in the modest town of Peñuelas, Puerto Rico, Maria was the youngest child in her family. Despite growing up in humble surroundings, Maria was a determined and ambitious young woman. She excelled in school and dreamed of helping others through a career in medicine. Her drive and determination earned her a spot at a prestigious medical university, where her future seemed as bright as her ambition. During her studies, she met Joel, a charismatic and confident surgical assistant who was completing his residency. Despite their 11-year age difference, Maria fell deeply in love with him. Their relationship blossomed quickly, and Joel proposed. By 2011, the couple had married and relocated to Laredo, Texas. Together, they built a seemingly ideal life. Both worked at the same hospital, Maria as a nurse anesthetist and Joel as a surgical assistant. Their dual incomes allowed them to purchase a beautiful home in an upscale neighborhood and enjoy a comfortable lifestyle. In 2015, they welcomed their first child, a son named Alejandro. 3 years later, their family grew with the birth of their daughter, Valentina. Maria put her career on hold to care for their children, planning to return to work once they were older. To those around them, Maria and Joel appeared to have the perfect family life. But behind closed doors, cracks were forming in their marriage. By 2018, Joel's behavior began to change. He became distant, irritable, and unusually preoccupied with his appearance. He spent hours at the gym transforming his physique and soon began posting suggestive photos on social media, pictures that focused on his muscular frame rather than his family. Maria's suspicions were confirmed when she discovered Joel was having an affair. His mistress, Janet Aranda, was not a stranger. She worked alongside Joel at the hospital and was well acquainted with Maria. The betrayal devastated Maria, but she chose to stay in the marriage for the sake of their children. For the next 2 years, Maria endured the emotional pain of Joel's infidelity, hoping he would eventually end the affair and recommit to their family. However, Joel wasn't willing to give up his double life. He continued to split his time between Maria and Janet, maintaining a facade of normalcy for the outside world. By 2020, Maria's resolve had changed. Her personal diary revealed a woman who was tired of the emotional turmoil. She was preparing to renew her medical license, return to work, and file for divorce. Maria was ready to move on from the toxic relationship, but Joel saw her independence as a threat. On the evening of September the 21st, 2020, Joel visited Maria under the pretense of spending time with their children. According to him, the couple had a long conversation, cleared the air, and were intimate before he went to shower. When he returned, he claimed to have found Maria unresponsive and immediately called 911. However, investigators quickly noticed glaring inconsistencies in his account. The shower Joel claimed to have used was bone dry. There were no puddles, no steam, and no wet towels. The bottle of anxiety medication he presented as evidence was nearly full, with no empty blister packs or containers nearby. More disturbingly, a small butterfly catheter, a device used for intravenous injections, was found tucked under the bed. This discovery, coupled with Joel's erratic behavior during questioning, raised significant red flags. Months later, the toxicology report revealed a chilling truth. Maria's system contained a cocktail of 7 powerful drugs, all commonly used in surgical procedures to induce anesthesia and manage pain. Each substance was present in lethal quantities, and together they formed a deadly mix that ensured no chance of survival. Joel, with his access to hospital supplies and knowledge of their effects, became the prime suspect. The drugs found in Maria's body were substances he worked with daily. Under pressure from investigators, Janet, Joel's mistress, agreed to cooperate in exchange for immunity. She revealed that Joel often stole drugs from the hospital and used them recreationally, sometimes injecting himself to achieve a euphoric state. She also recalled a chilling comment Joel made before visiting Maria that night. "Her future depends on what we talk about tonight." Investigators theorized that Maria refused to reconcile with Joel, standing firm on her decision to divorce. In response, Joel devised a plan to silence her forever. He likely tricked Maria into ingesting a drug, claiming it would help her relax. When she began feeling unwell, he offered to help by administering an injection, which contained the fatal cocktail. Joel then staged the scene, returning the medication bottle to its shelf and calling 911 once Maria was already beyond saving. In March 2023, nearly 3 years after Maria's death, Joel stood trial for the first-degree premeditated murder. The prosecution presented a compelling case, relying on Maria's diary, the toxicology report, and Janet's testimony. Maria's diary entries made it clear she wasn't suicidal. She was planning for a brighter future for herself and her children. The defense argued that it doubt that Maria's death was accidental or self-inflicted, but the evidence told a different story. Joel's access to the drugs, his inconsistencies, and his attempts to cover his tracks painted a damning picture. On March 30th, 2023, Joel P. was found guilty of murder and tampering with evidence. He was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole only after serving 30 years. Maria Munoz's story is a haunting reminder of how appearances can be deceiving. Behind the facade of a perfect family lay a web of lies, betrayal, and a calculated plan to end her life. Yet through her courage, documented in her diary, and the determination of investigators, her voice was heard and justice was served. Maria's legacy lives on through her children and stands as a testament to the resilience of truth, even in the face of unimaginable betrayal.